I mean, the Messi thing is so incredible because Cristiano Ronaldo went to a team in Saudi to play in the August of his career, the last 2 or 3 years. And this has been a thing that started with Pelé in the 70s. Pelé came to the New York Cosmos and played. Beckham famously did it as well, came to the LA Galaxy. But Beckham did this one interesting thing, which is he said, okay, I'm going to come to play in the MLS on one condition, really, which is I'll take a huge pay cut and all of this stuff, but I want an option to buy an expansion team for $25 million. Fast forward, he ended up buying Inter Miami. That team is now worth $585 million. So Messi is 36 years old. He's about to enter the August of his career. He's won everything. He's done everything possible. He is so incredible. I mean, I love him. I love him. He gets offered $400 million a year for 4 years to go play in Saudi Arabia, a $1.6 billion deal. And, you know, there's no income tax there. So that's like $1.6 billion right in his pocket. Except the deal that he did, which was for a lot less upfront, is really interesting. He basically said, I'll come to the United States and play in Inter Miami for the Miami Football Club. But I am, you know, basically, I'm not sure he said this, so I'm using my own words. I'm the greatest player in the world. Every time I do something magical on the field, I'm creating content that will sell tickets and create brand awareness and move the interest level of soccer in the United States. I'm a content creator, so I want a piece of this content. And so Apple, who signed a $2.5 billion 10-year license for the MLS, said, you're right. You're probably going to sell more subscriptions for me. I'll give you a piece of the rev share. And then Adidas said, you know what? You're right. You're probably going to sell more shoes for me. I'll give you a piece of those shoes. So in one fell swoop, I think what's amazing is Messi is not an athlete in this deal. I think going back to a theme that we've talked about a lot is he is this ultimate, penultimate, whatever. He's an elite content creator.
He's the equity.
Who is now creating who will come to the United States to create this incredible content that will move viewership, move merchandise, and he's going to monetize that. So it's effectively like becoming the Jordan brand, getting a piece of Netflix all in one.
He has the equity in those businesses, basically.
Yeah, this is a subtle point Shamat's making. In the deal, you have the person who's responsible for distribution. So this would be the same as like the NBA on ABC, ESPN, or TNT. And TNT or ESPN saying, you know what, you're so important, LeBron James, to play in this, or Steph Curry. We're going to give you a piece of the subscriptions to ESPN. So Apple is giving him rev share on their Apple TV League Pass for MLS. That's nuts. Like, and this is, I think it goes back to the Live deal with PGA, which is people are looking at these sports leagues and saying, let's get creative.
It goes back to a different one. The NBA just signed a new collective bargaining agreement that they're going to ratify. Mm-hmm. I always thought that the real thing that the NBA Players Association should be asking for was equity.
Yeah.
And that equity could be phantom equity in the teams, because it's clear that in the absence of the players, there's no viewership and there's no appreciation in the value of those franchises. And so the idea that LeBron, Steph, Dre, KD, don't own a huge piece of the underlying equity gains that they're creating in the period in which they're players is pretty crazy. Now, the ownership, their perspective is, well, we translate that in terms of rev share, but it's really not true. Because if you look at the CAGR, the IRR of the franchise values versus the CAGRing of the salaries, they're not equivalent.
Yeah.
So I just think it has huge implications to all the professional sports leagues, because these big stars should be asking their agents and their managers, how do I do a deal like Messi? Yeah. I am the ultimate content creator in my league.
The dynamics are changing. It will no longer be an employee capital labor situation, but capital is merging with labor.
Bravo.
And labor is basically becoming the equity in the equation, and they are getting 100%. A piece of the business.
Just like
the
Silicon Valley.
And by the way, the reason we see it happening so much is because of the social media age, and it's really incredible.